Good morning, everyone. Oh, not morning where you're at? That's okay, because you can have eggs for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Welcome to episode 9 of Three Eggs Are Better Than One. I am Brad Stanton. I am joined by my other eggs, Matt M. and Brian Hremza. We would like to thank all of you for the positive feedback from last week. I hope you really appreciated Matt making me and Bryant look really stupid with our spelling bee. But let's get to the positivity this week. Bryant, what's your sunny side up?
My sunny side up is the continuation of Christmas. So my brother has decided to come down for New Year's. So it was nice to get to see my brother and celebrate. And he decided to bring us Christmas gifts, even though we specifically said no Christmas gifts because, it's New Year's now. It's Christmas is over. So he decided to bring me a bunch of gifts, got me some action figures for my wrestling collection because, need to keep growing that. Why not? and But it was just nice to kind of hang out with my brother for New Year's, see him, and also feel horrible for the fact that I got him absolutely nothing because that's how this usually works when you're surprised randomly with Christmas, I guess. I don't know. But my sunny side up is I got to see my brother, got some extra Christmas gifts on top of everything, and just getting to, see family is always nice around this time of the year. So,
I have to
Brad,
ask a question. No, not
yeah,
yet. All right. So you, the guy that has everything when it comes to wrestling, what action figures does your brother think that you don't have?
the newer stuff. So like for example, I have it here because I brought it downstairs with me. It's a Hulk Hogan and Mean Gene set.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
So this was one of the sets he got me for
Oh, I like that.
Christmas. So yeah, so it's actually one of the newer ones they just came out with, and he saw the Mean Gene and he thought, "Well, I know you don't have that," and I'm like, "No, I don't. I just have the Hasbro." So worked out perfect. So
No, that's nice. I like that. If you guys aren't only watching on the audio, I highly recommend this episode that you do put the video on.
yes,
I did to each their own. We'll
mm-hmm.
explain everything the best we can, but there is going to be some visual stuff this week.
Yes,
My sunny side up of the week was one thing, but now of course it's two because Notre Dame just beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, which I'm a big Notre Dame fan, and it's been a really long time since Notre Dame's probably had a win this big. And we are now going to face Penn State next week. So I'm very excited about that. Irish Catholic brought up that way. That's you're forced to root for Notre Dame, which is not a problem. Also, very excited because as this airs tonight is the first Raw on Netflix, and I think it is going to be a tremendous event. And I also think it is going to be the most watched wrestling show in history. I said it here, folks. I said it here. But that is my sunny side of the week. Just some watching sports and wrestling. Matt?
So I tried really hard to come up with sunny side up because it's not my strong suit, and um, it just came to me. The newspaper delivery guy must be a listener of ours because he actually delivered the paper to my front steps instead of my driveway this week. Today, actually, to Thursday being delivery day. The paper was on my front steps. So I crossed out what I had previously written for Sunny Side Up, and that became my new active Sunny Side Up. But I will tell you about what I was going to talk about, which is Brad, you kind of just brought it up. Wrestling on streaming now. I'm very excited about that. I think Raw is going to be huge, like you said. Um, Last night in our real time here was the first streaming episode for AEW of Dynamite. And I've already been raving to you guys that the picture quality for streaming is just way better, way superior than when you're watching on cable, especially when you're watching sports and there's a lot of action. So I'm like really psyched about that because the picture looks great. It's going to look great for WWE. And I'm a big fan of streaming. I've been saying for several years now, if you're watching sports and you have the option to watch it on a streaming service instead of on your from your cable provider, you need to stream it. It looks better. If you've got the right device and the right plan and everything, you can get a nice 4K feed and things just it looks fantastic. And then you look at it on your cable box and it doesn't. It's much more pixelated. And this is the sort of thing that I care about.
It is the sort of thing
So
you care about.
those are my sunny side
If
up.
Ah,
I
that's
may
good.
ask, if I may
Oh,
ask,
Yeah.
do I need to have a 4K TV to enjoy this?
Not to enjoy streaming, but you're not going to get the 4K feed. Do you not have a 4K TV?
I do not. I don't have that executive money that you got there.
Exactly. It didn't make it to the other side of the
No,
vertical
not yet. No.
Dixon line. They don't have
Yeah,
4K.
no. We have the vertical. We use the. It's called the Mississippi River.
Yeah, there you go. See,
It
I need
hasn't crossed
something
the
to
Mississippi
identify.
yet over here.
Yeah, I've had a 4K TV for a while. I mean, it's not like they're that new anymore. Um, but that's where that's where streaming broadcasts are at. You know, they'll sell you TVs that can go even higher than that, but
Mhm.
nothing's presented that way.
Right.
so for hard boiled this week, I don't have really much. I didn't have an angry, upsetting week that a lot of things got to me. But I mean, I'll tell you a little bit of a funny story that was a little bothersome. Okay, so of course told everyone that Christmas was a little bit of a didn't really exist this year for me because I was sick and stayed in bed all day. But I got the gifts and before we opened everything before I went back to bed, and I did get a new pair of workout and running shoes. I was due. They're Brooks. Brooks are great shoes. So I finally yesterday was able to start. I finally got back to the gym yesterday and I opened up my new shoes, really excited. So I put on the first one, it felt good. And I looked at the second one and it was shaped the same as the first one in a way, like as in curved to the curved the same way as mine. So I said to my wife, I go, can you just look at these to make sure I'm not the crazy one? So yes, they did. I got two left feet.
What?
And wait, it gets better. They're both Brooks, but they're a different type of shoe. One was a completely different type of shoe. So what
Wow.
happened was my wife probably just ordered it, because she knows I got the exact same pair. They're a newer version. Got the same size and just it was a, delivered to your car curbside deal and didn't open it, but that's okay. So she got the new ones today, but yeah, they thought I have two left feet. I mean, I guess they may have seen me dance. Who knows? But I thought that was pretty funny. So
It's That's a Brad right there.
she went while I was finishing the Notre Dame game, she went and got the new one. So tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow's the day. I'm very excited, but I still haven't looked at them. Could be two right feet now. Who knows? But that's all I have this week. Nothing really got to me until just then. So Matt, you changed your topic this week.
I did.
Your egg. How dare you?
I did. I edited the precious outline.
What do you got?
I have read write permissions. So jumbo eggs, which is our experiences if we've met a celebrity or a wrestler, I guess we like to talk about. So I would like to talk to you guys about post show. I attended King of the Ring 2001. That's a WWE pay-per-view. I have the ticket stub here, which I will display in a moment. It was at Continental Airlines Arena on Sunday, June 24th, 2001. I sat in the lower section and the ticket was $100. And it says right on here, no laser pens. Guys, no laser pens, okay? It was presented by Combo Snacks.
Hmm.
So if you're a wrestling fan, you may know right off the top of your head, this event was very well known for a very infamous match, a street fight between Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle. Shane McMahon being the son of the well-known slash infamous longtime owner of WWE, Vince McMahon, and Kurt Angle, legit 1996 Olympic gold medalist in wrestling for the United States, and also one of the best in-ring performers ever. And they had a very violent, very bloody affair, and it was a wonderful match to be present for. Also that night, this comes just a couple months after WWE purchased their competition, which had been WCW for about 15 years prior, and um, us fans were wondering, well, what's going to happen here because a lot of the contracts for the wrestlers in WCW were now owned by WWE. Were we going to see them on TV? Were they going to have their separate show? We didn't know. And I think this might have been the very first appearance, and Bryant will correct me if I get this wrong, but Booker T, who was a WCW champion, came out and interfered in the main event, and that kind of sparked what became known as the Invasion, which was the dominant storyline for the rest of the year. Now we're not gonna examine the Invasion, and we all know it wasn't the best, but this did open things up. So what happened after the show? We were walking back to the car, and we somehow found ourselves adjacent to like the staff parking lot. And this arena, which is now defunct, by the way, they don't have events there anymore, but the building is still there. Um, it's one of those where there's like a parking structure, there's a parking structure underneath for talent and people who work there, so they don't have to park, amongst us regular folks. But people came walking out from underneath just at the same time as we were getting back to our car, and my friend goes, "Oh, that's Chris Canyon." So he was happy to talk to us. We went running over to the fence. Now we're talking to him through a chain link fence, but we probably talked to him for 20 minutes,
That's
which
awesome.
is a pretty long time. So little history on Chris Canyon. He was never a top level star in WCW or WWE, but he was a very well respected wrestler. One of his nicknames was the innovator of offense because he was a very creative wrestler, probably credited for inventing, coming up with a couple of his own moves that maybe they're still used today. And unfortunately, he wound up taking his own life back in 2010. I think he had troubles in his life with bipolar disorder. He was also a closeted homosexual for many years, which I'm guessing in that time period in that industry maybe wasn't the best thing to be. But this is back in 2001, and we just had this really exciting, interesting conversation with him because we were asking questions like, "Oh man, who's here tonight? What's going to be going on? Are you guys all coming over? You're still under contract? Is Rob Van Dam here?" I remember that was one of the questions we asked him. And he really had no idea. He said that a lot of the guys were there because it was kind of one of their first opportunities where they asked them all to come to a pay-per-view, and they did photo shoots and stuff like, they were like getting marketing and promotional materials together for what may or may not be to come. So he was just willing to tell us everything. He gave us the lowdown on all that. So he signed my ticket stub. I'll hold it up to the camera if you're watching, which is pretty nice signature there. It's an old school Ticketmaster stub. It clearly says Canyon.
Miss those, man. I miss those.
So that was a really nice memory. Um, and there you go. There's my jumbo egg. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Did you ask him a question? Like, did you
Oh,
ask him who's better than Canyon?
I did not ask that. I did not ask that.
So for those, that was a big thing. Who's better than
Yeah,
Canyon?
that was a
Nobody,
catchphrase.
everybody, whatever.
I mean, this was literally as we speak, this was 24 years ago.
That's all.
Yeah.
Whew. But it was a really nice experience. So
No, it's awesome.
there you
That
go.
is cool.
There's a
That is
dark
really
side of the
cool.
ring on Canyon, right?
Ah, I wanted to
Yes.
mention that, and I've already been probably taking up too much time with this segment. There is, in fact, a Dark Side of the Ring episode on him, which airs on Vice on cable. And I don't know if they ever released a book, but I know he was working on a book, but I don't think he got to finish it before the end of his life. Brian, do you know about that?
No, it was not finished. He
Yeah.
didn't get it published.
Yeah, too bad. Too
And
bad.
Bryant, what part did he play in WCW? What was that character?
Is a
Was it
Mortis.
He was Mortis.
Mortis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. With the glacier and everything like that. That was
Mhm.
good. We covered that on the kickout crew. I thought that was pretty good. No, it's
Yeah.
good, Matt. Hey,
Yeah.
look at you with coming up with your own segments and rewriting the outline and just doing whatever you want.
Caution to the wind.
Which brings us to breakfast for dinner. Now, we made it clear last time this does not have to be breakfast food. But what are we eating, Bryant?
Well, I'm glad it's not breakfast because I'm not doing that.
Okay.
This might sound odd as an adult, but my my wife and I have been making pigs in a blanket a lot lately. Not because we're cheap, but because for some reason we just had a hankering for pigs in a blanket. And I mean, it's the ultimate, I don't want to call it ultimate comfort food, but when you're a kid, pigs in a blanket was just like the premier meal. Like it was so cool of like It's not a corn dog, but it's kind of like that corn dog meal. And it was just something that for some reason we've just been doing a lot lately. I don't know why, I can't explain it. And then of course for us, we're weird in that sometimes we'll have curly fries with it. And then the last couple of times we've made crinkle fries. So I know there's a big fry debate out there with some people, so got to keep that going. But Brad, how about you?
Oh, I got questions already.
I also
Okay.
have questions.
Yes, please.
Right off the bat, curly fries are very different than any other French fry because they have that seasoning on them to me.
There.
And then the crinkle fries, well, that could be a number of different crinkle fries. Like, they could be seasoned or unseasoned. It could be very plain. It could be the Nathan's fries. Now, what are you dipping the fries in? Just regular
Oh,
ketchup, or do you have
yeah,
a
ketchup.
special
No,
sauce?
no, it's
Just
ketchup.
ketchup?
Just ketchup.
You guys haven't really moved on to other kind of dipping sauces in Nebraska yet?
No, we're weird like that. No, my wife uses ranch. She is big
Okay.
on ranch. But
I'm big on
I am
wing
still
sauce.
I'm on really.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a place here that bottles their own, and I usually have one or two of them in the fridge, and that's pretty much what I dip everything in.
What
So
did
is it
what
like a
is it?
specific
Like a wing sauce, like a hot or a mild or
I was
a
supposed to say, is there like a mild, is
pizza.
there barbecue or like is it just like
There's
what
several
flavor
different
is it?
flavors. There's hot as balls. That's a flavor. Like it's I don't do that too much anymore, but yeah, it's good. It's really good. So I can dip it in everything. But um I also sometimes season the crinkle fries with that what the crab fries stuff. What's that called? You know
Old Bay or
yeah,
something?
The Old Bay. Thank you for
Yeah.
still have the brain going on. But I'm sorry, what did you have, Matt?
So first I want to say I don't eat hot dogs. I think that
What?
they're disgusting. And I think I remember eating the last one I ever ate, which was at Yankee Stadium in 2004. I was actually working there for MLB Productions that day, and we were in like the press box, and like that's all they had. They had like hot dogs and pretzels, the big pretzels. So I just had to eat it out of necessity. But they're gross.
No, I love hot dogs.
How, so are
First
you
of all,
just
it's not the same thing as the
now
pigs are
that
frying.
now there's hot dogs and then there's beef dogs as well. There's two different kinds of hot dog here.
I eat both.
Yeah, I don't like any of them,
Okay.
You don't like a lot of things. You've never had a cherry.
and I
Yes.
There's a
never
lot of
had a
things you've
cherry.
never even tried, which is kind of like that kid that never grew up thing to me.
Never had a
Yeah.
cherry. Never had coffee.
There was other things too that we've talked about that you've
Oh,
never had.
sure. I hate
And I'm
mayo
a,
is disgusting.
and I think I'm about to get into another one right now because meal I'm going to talk about is the New Year's meal, the one that everybody has to have because it's good luck. Now, apparently, a lot down south people don't know about this, but sauerkraut and pork. So pork and sauerkraut on New Year's Day is supposed to be good luck, and you're supposed to have it. We eat it every single year. Uh, I don't, I don't hate it. It's okay, sauerkraut. The pork's usually okay because it's not like we're not talking just any pork here. We're talking like a pork roast. So it's like that drier type of pork. But do you guys like sauerkraut or do you have pork and sauerkraut on New Year's?
You go ahead, Bryant.
This is legitimately the first time I've ever heard this.
First time I've ever heard of that.
Didn't even know this was a thing.
Didn't even know it was a thing. I mean, I know what they are. A sauerkraut is disgusting. Put that on the list.
Have you had it?
No.
How do you know?
How do you know then?
I know.
You
I
don't know. All it is vinegar. It's like cabbage and vinegar. It's just
I know.
vinegar.
Yeah, so you actually just reminded me that my wife Sue has a New Year's Day food tradition, but she worked a lot over the past that time period, so she didn't make it. But it's black eyed peas. You guys heard of that?
Yeah, I don't get
Mhm.
involved.
Yeah, but have you heard of that being like a New Year's Day thing?
Yeah, actually, I have.
Yeah.
No.
No, okay. All right. So let me get to my turn. So my wife's mom always makes for us around the holidays, and she sends us a big batch of it, is peanut brittle.
Mm.
So I find it to be very unique. I mean, first of all, you gotta like peanuts, peanut butter, that sort of thing. And it's very sweet. It's definitely the sort of thing where you only want to have it a little bit, once a year around the holidays. It's not something that you're going to want to eat all the time. But, she makes it, homemade, and it does have that, mother-in-law homemade charm to it. And it's it's pretty fantastic. But I'm not gonna have, I'm not gonna have it anymore. I'm just had a couple. We had a couple bites, and we gave some away to our friends and stuff, and that's it. But that's I think that qualifies. Did I successfully fulfill the category this
Yes.
time?
Now, you know when I think of peanut brittle, I think of that the can of peanut brittle that you open and like the snakes come out, like it's the joke.
Oh, I didn't even
That's
know.
peanut brittle. I don't know if you know
I
that.
guess it is peanut brittle.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't coming in a Pringles can.
I know, but I think that's what I think of when I think of. I don't think I've ever had peanut brittle, and it's not because I don't. I didn't know. I always thought it was just a joke. I didn't think anything was really in there.
Man, we're way off the outline.
Anyway,
Love it.
well, I think we did it. Now, so last week I
Oh
told
boy.
everybody what I was going to be doing. Did I
Are
miss
we
something?
here? Are we here already?
Yeah, we're
We
here.
are here.
Oh
Yeah.
man. All right.
So I'm combining down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit mole, if you will,
I won't.
with duck eggs, which is more of like a fun fact. So, but it's a lot more than just fun facts. Is we're gonna go through the word mole. Now, Bryant, you know you have several pictures that I sent you,
I do.
and you should know you'll have your cues. Okay.
Okay.
So let's get into it. What? All right. So first off, why would I even want to talk about this? Right. What made this even come to fruition? So I have a mole on my neck right here, and I was shaving right before we had our show a couple weeks ago, and I shaved over it by accident. And I do that quite often. Not, I mean, I'm not every day, but once every 3 or 4 months, I make myself bleed. And it bleeds like a mother. All right. Like it bleeds and bleeds and bleeds to the point where like, what's left? Right. So I put the Band-Aid on it for the show. And then when I took it off, well, lo and behold, it grows back. Well, why? Why does this thing grow back? I just cut it the hell open. If I cut my finger off, the finger doesn't grow back. So why does this mole grow back? So let's start and talk about the mole. The first definition of a mole is a small, often slightly raised blemish on the skin made dark by a high concentration of melanin. What's melanin, you ask? Well, it's a pigment that gives its skin its color. Okay. People get moles because of a combination of genetics and exposure to sunlight. So the tendency to develop moles seems to be inherited, but inheritance patterns is not well understood. Moles can grow back after removal because not all mole cells were completely removed during the initial procedure or accidentally cutting it open, meaning some tissue may remain beneath the skin and have the potential to regrow. This is most likely to happen if the removal method didn't go deep enough or the margins around the mole weren't adequately excised. So, while most moles are harmless, a small percentage can be cancerous, particularly when they develop into a skin cancer called melanoma. And if you notice any change in the size, shape, or color of a mole, it's important to consult a doctor and get it checked. So we're not there yet, but
I'm putting this up anyway.
okay.
We're starting it.
So there are several ways to remove a mole, but to see your dermatologist for details. Now, there are famous moles on people. Here we are, huh? And they call them beauty marks. And here we have Eva Mendes, beautiful woman. We also have Marilyn Monroe. Bryant, do we have her up?
I don't know why, but no.
No. Okay. Marilyn Monroe.
I broke it.
And I also have Cindy Crawford. All very beautiful women, all well known for their moles. What do we? There's Marilyn Monroe there, famously for a lot of things.
Yeah, for a lot of things, yes.
And again, I said Cindy Crawford. You don't have to put that up if you don't want to, Bryant. But also from the third installment of Austin Powers film series, we have number 3, also known as Mole, played by Fred Savage. Mole.
Mole.
Mole. Now,
will you chop it up and make it into guacamole?
oh, there it is. But then I started thinking, okay, that's great. That's what my mole is. But what I know I've heard this mole before, and I come to find out there are seven definitions of mole of the same exact spelling. Now, how does this happen?
I'm excited to talk about all the other 6 and get off of definition number 1.
So let's go into part 2, which leads me to the second definition, which is a spy who achieves over a long period an important position within the security defense of a country. Or we have a mole in the organization. That's an example in a sentence, if you will. So a perfect example of a mole to me is Joe Pistone, an FBI agent who worked undercover as Donnie Brasco from 1976 to 1981, infiltrating crime families. There was a movie made about it in 1997 starring Johnny Depp and Al Pacino. A mole may be recruited early in life and take decades to get a job in government service and reach a position of access to secret information before becoming active as a spy. Perhaps the most famous of moles were the Cambridge Five. Five upper-class British men recruited by the KGB as communist students at Cambridge University in the 1930s, who later rose to high levels in various parts of the British government. Crazy. Some other famous moles in pop culture include the Smoking Man from The X-Files, HBO series The Wire's Omar Little, and in The Bourne Identity, The Professor. Very exciting stuff. That brings me to the most boring of the definitions. Definition 3, mole as a unit of measurement. The mole is a unit of measurement, the base unit in the international system of units for the amount of substance, a quantity proportional to the number of elementary entities of substance, which is actually symbol MOL. If you're wondering what the international system of units is, just another name for the metric system. So there you have it. Definition 3, mole, boring, unit of substance. 4 are small subterranean mammals. If you would please show the picture there, Bryant. They have a cylindrical bodies, velvety fur, very small and conspicuous eyes and ears, reduced hind limbs, and short, powerful forelimbs with great paws adapted for digging. True moles are found in most parts of North America, Europe, and Asia. Other mammals referred to as moles include the African golden moles and the Australian marsupial moles, which have similar ecology and a lifestyle to true moles but are unrelated. Moles may be viewed as pests to gardeners, but they are actually positive contributors to soil gardens and ecosystems, including soil aeration, feeding on slugs and small creatures, and eating plant roots and providing prey for other wildlife. They eat earthworms and their small vertebrates in the soil. Here are some moles that appear in pulp culture. So we have Rufus. You have him there, Bryant? There he is. A naked mole rat that is the pest of Ron Stoppable in the animated series Kim Possible. Rufus is voiced actually by the one and only Nancy Cartwright. We also have Molly, and he is from his own cartoon in the UK called Molly, if you could believe that. And finally, we have Digger, a mole character from the cartoon Shirt Tales. Very cute, aren't they? Everyone loves a good mole in a cartoon. So the number 5 definition is a large structure on the shore serving as a pier, breakway, or causeway. So here are some famous moles and piers. Here we have the mole at Dunkirk, France, an 8-foot wide, half-mile long breakwater wall that serves as a makeshift dock for British leaders extubating, I didn't say that right, during World War II. And finally, we have the mole at Bastia in Corsica. Refers to the old harbor breakwater in the city of Bastia, Corsica, which is a large stone-built structure extending into the sea, often called a mole in French and other European languages, essentially. It's pier protecting the harbor from rough waves and providing a docking area for boats. The 6th definition of mole is very going to very quickly go through this one. In context of the uterus, refers to abnormal mass of tissue or a molar pregnancy, which is a type of gestational trophoblastic disease that occurs when a placenta develops abnormally early during pregnancy, forming a cluster of fluid sacs instead of a fetus. Most moles are benign, but can sometimes be cancerous if not treated properly. That brings us, madam, to the final definition of mole. Mole is a spicy, complex, and flavorful sauce that originated in Mexico and is a staple of Mexican cuisine. Brian, if you will. Typically made with dried chilies, spices, fruits, nuts, and thickeners like tortillas, breads, and walnuts, the sauce has a layered flavor profile with notes of earthiness, nuttiness, fruitiness, and chocolate. More like a gravy than a condiment, mole is ground or blended until smooth. Traditionally made by crushing ingredients with matate, a stone tool, but a blender can be used. Commonly served over meat, chicken, or pork with vegetables or tortillas on the side. So I have prepared a song. It's called The Many Faces of a Mole. There's a mole on your skin, just a freckle or two, a spot that's unique, just a part of you. In chemistry, its number, so grand, Avogadro's constant, can you understand? Oh, mole, mole, what do you mean? From biology to science and everything in between. You've got 7 faces all playing a role. Let's sing a song about the wonders of the mole. Mole is an animal digging all day, living underground in its earthy clay. In espionage, it's sneaky, spy, hiding on the shadows, slipping right by. Oh mole, what do you mean? From biology to science and everything in between. You have 7 faces all playing a role. Let's sing about the wonders of the mole. Bridge in math, it's a unit of weight or size, counting particles we can't visualize. And then there's the mole, a little raised bump, a dermal delight, or a medical hump. A kitchen recipe, a mole can mean a Mexican sauce rich and supreme. Don't forget the slang, its hidden source, a mole knows secrets, staying on course. Mole, oh mole, what do you mean? From biology to science and everything in between. You've got seven faces all playing a role. Let's sing about the wonders of the mole. So whether it's chemistry, food, or a spy, a creature underground, a mark to imply, the mole is a word with stories untold. Seven definitions, all solid gold. Thank you, everyone.
Wait a minute. You wrote this?
Yeah, of course.
Wow. Uh, that's very impressive. That was very Dr. Seuss-like, I thought. Which is a compliment, a major compliment. Um, I mean, I could never come up with this stuff. That's crazy.
I needed to spice it up a little bit. I felt bored. Bored. It was a little bit boring. Um, but it is interesting to me that there are seven definitions of this one word.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this could be a recurring segment because I'm sure there's other words out there that are an average word like this, but has many different definitions. I don't know
Uh,
if they're all song worthy.
I don't know either. I'm sure you didn't think that would be song worthy.
Well, I wrote some notes, but Brian, you have any feedback, any immediate knee-jerk reactions before I get to this?
I've learned so much about moles today. Um, Definition six threw me off. I will be honest.
Yeah,
Did not
me
see that
too.
one coming. But I, I'm not gonna lie. When I got these pictures sent to me, I had tons of questions because I did not like. Obviously, the mole ones made sense to me because I'm like, okay, this makes sense. The moles on the faces, okay. But the part about the ship spots there with the extensions there, no idea. Totally learned something new today on that one. And then the sauce, I guess I never realized that's what it was called. So completely taken back by how intriguing all of this is. So Matt, I'll go back to you.
Before you get into it, Matt, I just want to say I did not know about the sauce or the peers at all.
Yeah.
I did not
Okay.
know about the peers or the more obvious one. I feel like I knew about the sauce, but didn't put it together until that.
And there's actually an
Um,
eighth definition. There's a blind mole that's a part of your retina that you can't see out of.
Well,
Yeah.
that
Way to
didn't make
bury
it
the lead.
Well,
make it into the song.
Yeah.
well, it just didn't fit into the song, and I feel like that was more of a copy of moles being blind, which they aren't, by the way.
We're gonna
What do you
put
got,
up a
Matt?
poll. We're gonna put up a poll to see which one of us most closely resembles a mole. All right. So I wrote a few things down. My rebuttals. First of all, it's interesting that if you cut the mole off your neck, it'll grow back. If you cut your finger off, it won't grow back. But if that mole's on your finger and you cut it off, that one's probably not going to grow back. Next comment is I've never seen a Jason Bourne movie.
What?
Never seen it. I'm not really a big fan of just like straight up action movies, and I think that's what those are. And I'm actually not a very big fan of Matt Damon, which is probably an unpopular opinion.
Scotty
Probably.
doesn't know. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
What's that?
Nothing. Oh, Scotty doesn't know is Matt Damon singing it.
Yeah. It's an amazing song.
Know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Oh boy.
Oh my
Maybe I do.
God.
Euro trip.
I'll
Scotty
send
doesn't
you
know.
I'll send you the video
I
later.
have not seen Euro Trip.
That is a good movie and it is a fun song. I apologize for interrupting.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, he plays a villainous type of character a lot that might contribute to why I don't really care for him. I don't know, he's just kind of there for me. I mean, I know he's had he's been in some very important films and had some big roles and I mean, he's a movie star, right? I mean, how many Jason Bourne movies were there? A lot.
Yeah. I've only seen a couple and I probably wouldn't see them today if they were new, but
He's
I
just
did see them years ago.
he's not like a shoe-in for me for like, oh, I'm gonna watch that. Like if Christian Bale is in a movie, I'm like, oh, well, that's gonna be great because like he's fantastic. Or even Sean Penn, Like, okay.
Have you seen
Uh,
Good Will Hunting at least?
of course, of course. I
Oh,
mean,
of course.
that was
I've never
way
even
back at
Jerry, but yeah.
mean, that was way back at the beginning. I mean, and they were, I mean, those characters were assholes. You know, they were the young Boston assholes.
You know what movie? I know we're off base now.
We're off
No,
the
it's
rails
okay.
now.
I'm
But
because
you
I
know, School Ties. He was a real asshole in that one. Do you remember
don't
School
think I've seen that.
with Brendan Fraser, where he was a Jewish kid that went to the private school to play football, and they tortured him? He was so mean in that. He was such an asshole. Yeah. Anyway,
Sorry, I never saw it.
of course not.
I'm a bigger. I mean, obviously, he's forever linked to Ben Affleck for numerous
Mhm.
reasons.
Mhm.
I like Ben Affleck's gotten a lot of shit over the years. I think a
Not
lot
my Batman.
probably
Whoa.
He's
a
not
lot
my
of it
Batman.
probably has to do with Jennifer Lopez and his on again, off again there. But I think as a director, he made some excellent movies. I mean, one of them won Best Picture, so that's kind of impressive. I think as an actor, he's pretty good too. I
I
mean,
like Armageddon.
yeah, I mean, Armageddon's great, but that's a Hollywood
Yeah, I
popcorn.
know. I'm just messing with you.
That's, I mean, what was that one he was in? Said, I was gonna say Gone Girl, I think.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Gone Girl.
I thought that was a dressed up Lifetime movie.
All right.
But
Yeah.
I
Was that
did
him
like him
with,
I liked him in Boiler Room.
yeah, Boiler Room's good. We can go on. All right. Another comment I wanted to make was, where on earth did it say that these rodents have velvety fur? I mean, come on, velvety fur for a rodent? That's
Have you not felt a mole before?
no,
Pretty
no,
velvety.
no. Very good job again with I'm gonna call it a poem, not a song.
Yeah, I would have called it a poem, which is what all songs are.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That could be that could debate that. But it was very Dr. Seuss like. I like your creativity, Brad. I think I can hack my way through a lot of our topics, but coming up with the central topics has been difficult for me to do. So I envy that about you.
Yeah, but creativity's going away anymore, isn't it?
The what?
But I won't get into that. You know what I mean?
Oh, is that an AI
Yeah,
comment?
it's true. Like actually, there's actually a petition going by creative people saying that it is taking their place. Like, but they don't need them, and they're actually not even wrong.
Yeah.
You can literally get information in seconds from just blurting a few words. It's crazy the world we
I
live in right now.
I saw a comment. It was like a maybe it was a tweet or something that had been reshared, and I don't know who said it. I don't know if the person who said it was the first person who said it, or if they're a person of noteworthiness or not. But it must be an artistic person. And the quote was, and I'm misquoting it, but it was something like, um, I don't want my AI to do my writing and my painting for me. I want my AI to do my laundry and my dishes so I have more time to do my writing and my painting.
Perfect
Yeah.
answer.
Perfect.
Love it.
And it's like, yeah, you're trying to replace the things that people enjoy doing, but really we would just rather replace the things that are obligations that are a pain in the butt, like laundry.
It is a shame,
Yeah.
but it is
I mean,
what it
we have
is.
the power to, reject the things we don't want.
I
So,
just don't know what AI, and we'll get off this in a second. I just don't know what is AI sometimes and what isn't. I can't look at these pictures like everybody else and know that this is AI. I don't
yeah.
know that someone wrote something. It was AI. I don't know. I'm not
Mhm.
double checking it. But anyway,
I mean, I'm not, but I'm also not somebody who goes out there and shares info that I'm not sure about. I mean, that's the bigger issue.
me neither. But I see a lot on socials. That's all.
Yeah.
But anyway, boy, this got serious, huh?
Let's put a mole in this.
So soft boiled. So this is the songs that we like. We just like a simple topic to talk about some music. So Brian, what's your song of the week?
My song of the week comes from a comedian, actually. Someone that I enjoy very much. His name is Bo Burnham. And Bo puts out a lot of comedy music. So, like, instead of being like a traditional stand up comedian, he does songs, but it's tied in with kind of tied in with his comedy routine. So, I've been listening to a lot of his last album, which was Inside. which is he locked himself in an apartment for 6 months and wrote an album and just kind of was his thoughts. So one of the songs that he has on there is Feeling Like Shit. And it is just the funniest thing in the world to me. And I just like to sing it every morning now. Not because I actually feel like shit, but because, the motivation to go to work sometimes makes you feel that way. So for me, that is the song that I have been listening to the most lately.
Hmm.
So, Brad,
You have something to say there, Matt?
I do.
go for it.
So I think I know who Bo Burnham is. Is he an actor as well?
He has done some acting,
Yeah.
yes.
I've never, ever, ever seen any of his comedy, heard any of his comedy, heard any of his musical comedy. But he was in a movie, and I think it was called, oh boy, it was that one about it was like a very serious subject matter with, oh boy, this is dead air here.
Yeah, it is. What are we doing here?
Pretty Young Woman or something like that. I don't know. Something happened with women were being taken advantage of when they were drunk, and a young lady went on a quest to get revenge on the
Yes.
perpetrators.
I do know the movie you're talking about. I cannot
Yeah,
think of the name of it.
yeah. I'll Google it when someone else is talking.
Well,
All
Brad is up
right.
next. So,
Well, I
Brad, go
guess that
for
would
it.
be me. So interestingly enough, we just rang in the new year. Happy New Year, everyone, again. And in the year is 2525. And believe it or not, in 1969, there was a hit song called In the Year 2525, which is not now, okay? But I just thought it was interesting that in the year 2525, a hit song by the American pop duo Zager and Evans, it reached number one on the Billboard Hot 100 for 6 weeks, commencing on July 12th, 1969. Now, of course, that's 500 years from now. But the idea of the song is that in the year 2025, if man is still alive, and if you know the word, a woman can carry, they may find. In the year 3535, ain't gonna need to tell the truth, tell no lie. Everyone you think, do, and say is in the pill you took today. In 4545, you ain't gonna need your teeth, won't need your eyes, you won't find a thing to chew. And in 5555, your arms are hanging limp at your sides, your legs got nothing to do because some machine is doing that for you, saying that little by little the machines are taking over and we're not going to need to do anything. Boy, am I getting political
Wow.
today. This reminds me of the movie Wall-E. If you remember, that was a Disney movie that
Yeah.
basically said that humans didn't even need to do anything anymore. Everything was technology, everything was machines. And when they finally did touch each other, it was like, wow, this is what we've been missing. So everybody just slow down, enjoy one year at a time, breathe the air in and out.
So this is a song you've actually been listening to?
Well, I did after I researched it.
Yeah.
No, I know the
Yeah.
song though, and I played it twice, and I've listened to it now.
Okay.
That's it.
As long as it was more than once, it
It was
qualifies.
twice because I really wanted to get inside of
Okay. So the movie I was just talking about is called Promising Young Woman,
it. Okay.
and it actually won an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, written by Emerald Fennell. Best Original Screenplay, to me, that's a very high honor. The best movies of the year are always the ones nominated in the writing categories, because that's where your best content's coming from. Okay, my soft-boiled song of the week is a little song called Last Dance with Mary Jane. Now you may
Mm,
say to yourself, I know that song, but do you know this version? Because it was just re-released by Snoop Dogg
definitely not.
on the album he just put out less than a month ago in December 2024, which is called Missionary.
Hmm.
I don't know if any of you guys know this, but Snoop like continues to put out new music regularly. I'm not saying I'm like a all the time fan of his. Of course, I love Snoop just as much as the next guy. But he's somebody who could have put out that couple albums in the 90s and just never done anything else and would have still been the same level of success and popularity. But he keeps putting stuff out. So let me tell you a little bit about this song. As you may know, the original version of Last Dance with Mary Jane is by Tom Petty, who is one of my favorite musicians. Unfortunately, Tom Petty passed away in 2017. In a 2017 interview for the documentary The Defiant Ones, Tom asked Dr. Dre to remix Mary Jane's Last Dance. Years later, producer I forgot his name, Iovine. He's a well-known producer. I should know how to say his name. Producer Jimmy, with whom Tom had a long-standing relationship, honored Tom's request and made it happen. Out now on Snoop's new album is Last Dance with Mary Jane, featuring Jelly Roll, Dr. Dre, and Tom's original vocals and harmonica. Now, it's not a straight-up cover. There are different lyrics from Snoop and from Jelly Roll, but you've got Tom in there. It still has, it has a very modernized vibe and sounds like a Snoop song. But to me, that's a classic, important song from Tom Petty's catalog. I don't know if you guys know or have the same love for Tom Petty that I do, but that's a top-notch song, the original. And this song just came out recently, and I've been listening to it because I think it's cool when other artists cover songs and trying to honor what came before then. If you read further into it, there's a lot of appreciation from Snoop and from Dre for Tom Petty, which I love that. Those are different eras, different genres of music, and these guys are showing each other respect. So I like that sort of thing. So if you haven't heard it, you might want to go check it out.
I'm definitely checking it out because I like that song to begin with, and I'd like to hear it.
Yeah.
Good job, Matt M. Look at you with knowing what you're doing in the segments.
A little touch of Brad there.
Yeah, I like that. I always like, yeah, come on now. Anyway, Bryant, so I put this on the outline for you. I don't know if you changed it up a little bit or not, but I
I
put
didn't.
deviled eggs. What has scared you in wrestling? Or if you have a better idea, Bryant.
Well, I'm going to go with the wrestling theme because there was something that as a child terrified me. So there was a rivalry in wrestling. And one of our favorite individuals that a lot of people loved was the Macho Man Randy Savage. Back in the early 90s, he, married Miss Elizabeth, was a heel, came back to being a good guy. And then a rivalry started with a guy by the name of Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake was known for always bringing a snake to the ring, but during this rivalry, something changed. Jake had become darker. And on this one particular edition of Superstars of Wrestling, Jake this time brought a cobra to the ring. Normally, he would bring a python with him, but this time he brought a cobra. And as we all know, cobras are much, the most, considered one of the most venomous snakes in the world. And as a kid, you see this and you were immediately in fear of what can happen. What is, these snakes have never done anything in the ring before, but with this snake, you don't know. And as he tied Randy Savage into the ropes, he brings the snake over and the snake bites Randy Savage. Now, as a child, this moment truly terrified me. Naturally, already, this began a fear of snakes for myself as a youth because naturally, I'm never going to see a cobra anywhere in Nebraska. Let's be realistic. But you never know. And you didn't know what these snakes could do. And if a snake is going to bite Randy Savage and, these snakes are dangerous. And, the entire time the announcers, I hope that snake's devenomized, constantly saying it on the air. And as a child, it's a truly traumatic experience because, here's your hero tied up in the ropes with a snake that you're told is this dangerous snake. And what's going to happen to him? You don't know. Luckily, other officials come out, get him off the ropes and, Jake eventually does get the snake off of him. But as a child, truly a traumatic experience watching this and a moment in wrestling that scared me.
Listen, I couldn't agree more. I mean, first off, I don't care if this snake has venom in it or not. I'm not letting this happen. Okay,
No.
that snake is biting, trying to kill Macho Man. Whether or not it has venom in it or not, that snake is trying to kill Macho Man. That
Yep.
is a visual right there.
And the thing is, and I didn't have the picture for it, Jake admits in interviews later, he had a hard time getting the snake off of Randy's arm.
Yeah.
Like you see moments where he's like hitting the snake's head to try to get it to let go of his arm. So it's really just gnawing on his arm at the same
It's an
time.
animal or reptile,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah,
It doesn't know that this is a show. I'll tell you that.
absolutely. So, and again, when you're a kid, you see that it's just, it's a moment that stuck with me for a very, very long
Matt, I know you got something.
No, no, good. That's great. I love when you guys pick stuff that really nails the topic. Did you say that what was the year of that happening?
time. 1991.
So, and how old were you then?
I was, I had just turned 4 that year. So,
Jeez. I
so
mean, do
I'm
you
very
think
young
you
kid.
watched this when you were 4?
Yeah, I watched it from when I was born. Yeah,
Well, from when I was
yeah,
born. I was born in the middle of the ring.
Was that a
yeah.
trivia question for him, all that stuff, or did you have something other
I
trivia?
have a I if we're done with that,
No, wait, hold on. I want to have one more thing about that.
yeah.
I also find it funny that I found out recently listening to Jake, he's available now. He doesn't like snakes.
Yeah.
After all that, Jake the Snake
Does.
Roberts. We have a snake in this house. I don't like him. I want no part of him. Yeah, my son has one. And guess
You
what?
have
I
a
think he's gonna
pet
go with him
snake
to the
in the
Marines. They allow that on boot camp or what?
You have a pet snake,
I do not. My son does. I
but
have
it
dogs.
resides in your home.
It resides in my home and it eats live mice.
What is the snake's name?
This is how much I don't know. I don't know.
Wow. What? All right, well,
I
that's
don't
homework for
remember.
next week.
I don't even go into that room. That room's a danger zone.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't even want to be on the podcast with I don't want to be podcast adjacent.
I
I don't like that our states are touching right
I
now.
need to figure out something for when he goes away to the military because I am not really interested in
Yeah,
taking care
that's
of that snake.
it's no good.
Yeah.
I don't even want to drop that mouse in there. I don't
I
want to
don't
do any
blame
of
you.
those
Well, you
things.
never know. It could come up and you don't know.
Yeah, whatever it is, whatever could happen, would happen to poor Macho Man. That's what could happen.
You got to get Tom Green to do it for you.
That was the best. Are you here for the feeding? Because you're early.
Euro trip and road trip? Is that road trip?
Yes, it's a trippy show, man. Very trippy show.
Yeah. All right, do we have time for me to ask Bryant a wrestling trivia question before we wrap it up?
I also want to mention
Oh,
real quick that there is another mole story out there that I don't want to get into, but it involves Richard Gere. So I would ask all of you, because we're trying to make this a PG-13 show. And
yes,
if you wanted to go ahead and internet look up that, you go right ahead.
that's on you.
Yeah, I think that was a
But if
gerbil.
I don't bring it
Let's
up,
move
people
on.
are going to have questions.
That's true. No.
Let's move on. I don't know why. I don't know why I thought of this, but I thought I want to ask Brian a question. It is wrestling, and it is about WWE In Your House 2, which was retroactively titled The Lumberjacks.
Yes.
This took place on July 23rd, 1995, at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee. The main event was a lumberjack match for the championship. Diesel defeated Psycho Sid, who was accompanied by Ted DiBiase.
Mhm.
Bryant, there were 30 lumberjacks in that match, which, by the way, is a lot of
It's a lot of
lumberjacks in a
people. Yeah.
lumberjack match. How many of those 30 lumberjacks do you think you could name?
This is bullshit. He's basically reciting the whole show in his mind to you. And then you say,
Two? No, two. Yeah, I can name you two at least.
Oh, you could do better than that.
I could
Just
probably.
name the roster at the time.
Yeah, 1995 roster. That roster's garbage. Um,
I got a pen.
you're gonna write them all down for me.
both of them.
I mean, I have the list. Name a couple.
Okay, so you've got the Smoking Guns were there, Bart and Billy. You have the 1, 2, 3 Kid.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with probably Fatu was there.
correct.
Um, I'm running through the roster.
I mean, it's everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's probably the whole freaking. It's probably everybody there. God dang. I'm gonna go with okay. So I'm gonna name some heels. I'm gonna go. IRS is there.
Correct.
Probably King Kong Bundy. And
Correct.
comma. I'm naming the Money Inc. stable.
Yep.
Tatanka.
Yep. Crushing it.
I'm gonna go Henry Godwin.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I don't know what you want to call him at the time.
Yeah, Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Bob Holly because I just think he was there because he was there forever. It seemed like.
Correct. And you mentioned the $1 million stable. There's another guy in there, I think.
Uh,
I think I'm right about that.
did I say comma?
You said Kama, also known as the Godfather.
Godfather for Godfather for everybody else. Um. Oh, I'm gonna go with Shawn Michaels was probably one of them.
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
HBK.
I left that one off on purpose. Was Razor there? Razor was probably there.
Razor Ramon.
Goddamn, I'm good. Savio Vega then, because they
Savio
were
Vega.
teaming at that time. Were Mabel and Mo?
Correct, man. On a
Oh my
mission.
gosh.
Jesus Christ.
On a
Pushing
mission?
this.
I don't know how many more I can go for here.
How many is that?
We're 1, 2, 3, 6,
Jeez.
15. One more and you passed halfway mark.
Okay, I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna say we're the heavenly bodies there, Dr. Tom and Jimmy Del Rey.
Correct.
God, okay,
They're
I'm
both
good.
there.
You know, I'm good.
All right. I think the one that from the $1 million faction was Bam Bam, right? Wasn't he in there too?
No, Bam Bam was out by that point.
Well, he's in but he was a lumberjack.
No, he's a lumberjack, but he wasn't in the
Oh, he
stable.
wasn't in the faction.
Yeah, they
All right,
kicked him
so
out after WrestleMania.
All right. What excellent job. The missing guys were Eli and Jacob Blue. Those are the Harris boys, right?
Harris boys, yep.
You said King Kong Bundy. Brad Radford, that's Louis Spicoli, right?
That is Louis Piccoli, yep.
Skip, that's
Oh, Skip,
Vito.
yeah, good. So he would have been there by then, yeah.
Jean-Pierre Lafitte, also known as
He's PCO.
PCO.
Oh, wow. What a
Antar and Man Mountain Rock.
Oh, how would I have gotten Mantar? Come on.
Man Mountain Rock. Adam Bomb,
He was still there, huh?
one of my
Okay.
favorites. Duke Drosy,
The dumpster.
Dumpster. And I had to click on these guys. Travis and Troy.
Oh, is that Techno Team 2000?
Yeah, it must be. So that's Bad Fortune and Eric Watts.
Yeah, that's Techno Team 2000.
Wow. Okay. Well, guys, this has been another episode of Three Eggs Are Better Than One. We are cooking up every Monday morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. Find us on YouTube at Three Eggs Are Better Than One. That's the number 3, the letter R, the number 1. Also follow us on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok at Three Eggs Are Better, the number 3, the letter R. And our individual accounts at YesManBrad, at B Haremza, and I am at Purple Shirt Guy without the I. Next week, Bryant, why don't you tell us about that?
Well, next week we're going to take a deep dive into something that is a wrestling staple, but it evolves outside of that. It's sports, it's life. It involves countries sometimes as well. We're going to talk about rivalries. What makes a rivalry? How do this get to become a rivalry? And how does our fandom or our allegiances play into the rivalries? I think that's going to be something. And, my fellow eggs can bring, their favorite rivalries or things they're passionate about that maybe they don't like, maybe the football team aspect of that could play into that. But for us, we want to wish you guys a happy new year. This is the new year. Thank you for being with us. We've enjoyed having you for this ride so far with us. As Matt said, give us a follow. Go to YouTube. See the clips we're posting. I try to post as much on social media as I can, but YouTube's the place to find us. And we do the best, and we're going to make them even better going into next year. That's it for us. The egg timer's been set. We'll see you next week.